Hello and welcome to the Career Compass program, which includes online learning sessions, podcasts, videos, webinars, white papers, and whiteboard videos, all specifically designed for NAVFAC. Please check the Career Compass Resource Center, or CCRC, often for updates and new content to support your learning. This content will assist with learning and development within the 20 non-technical competencies outlined in the Workforce Development Strategy. The topic for today's webinar is Culture of Lifetime Learning, Pursuing Professional Development in Support of the Continual Learning Competency. Throughout this video, you will see a paper-pencil icon on some slides, indicating a workbook activity. When you see this icon on the top left corner, this means I'll be asking you to write something in your workbook, or refer to your workbook. If possible, download the workbook from the Career Compass Resource Center, or CCRC, before continuing with this course. However, if you are not able to, no worries. Just use any piece of paper and write your thoughts down on that. You can always transfer that to the workbook later. The objective of today's session is to understand why lifetime learning is important. We are going to cover why a culture of learning is important, the difference between training and professional development, the 70-20-10 adult learning model, and how to identify and promote opportunities in each category. So what is a learning culture? A learning culture builds high-performance organizations by helping people learn more faster. It instills a growth mindset, which Carol Dweck describes as a belief in one's ability to learn anything. Now let's understand the traits of a growth mindset versus the traits of a fixed mindset. For a growth mindset, failure is an opportunity to grow, while for a fixed mindset, failure is the limit of one's abilities. A growth mindset says, I can learn to do anything, while a fixed mindset says, I'm either good at something or I'm not. Challenges help a growth mindset to grow, while a fixed mindset does not like to be challenged. The efforts and attitude of a person with a growth mindset determine her abilities, while a fixed mindset's abilities are unchanging. For a growth mindset, feedback is constructive, while for a fixed mindset, feedback is personal. A person with a growth mindset is always looking to try new things, while one with a fixed mindset just sticks to what he knows. In your workbook on page 4, please assess if the following sentences refer to a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. If you don't have a workbook, just jot it down on paper. There are 3 sentences, so you will have 3 answers. Statement 1 is, I tend to take criticism personally. Statement 2 is, when others succeed, I get even more inspired. And statement 3 is, I always stick to what I know the best. Pause the video and write in your workbook whether each of these statements shows a growth or fixed mindset. Resume the video when you are ready. Let's go over the answers to these questions. Statement 1 was, I tend to take criticism personally. This exhibits a fixed mindset. Statement 2 was, when others succeed, I get even more inspired. This shows a growth mindset. Lastly, statement 3 was, I always stick to what I know best. This shows a fixed mindset. We've just talked about growth mindset, which is part of continual learning. Before we dive into continual learning, I'd like you to take a moment and think about what the term continual learning means to you. Pause the video and record your thoughts on page 4 of your workbook. Resume the video when you're ready. Here is the formal definition of continual learning. Continual learning is the process of learning new skills and knowledge on an ongoing basis. This can come in many forms, from taking formal courses to informal social learning. Now that we know what it is, what are the benefits of continual learning? According to a survey conducted by Evolution, 96% of people see a positive impact of continual learning on job performance. 78% of people see continual learning as a factor in promotions and career advancement. And 87% of people say continual learning correlates with increases in compensation and salary. Ray Dalio is the founder and CEO of Bridgewater Associates. He has been named to Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in the world. He challenges his employees with this question: do you worry more about how good you are or about how fast you are learning? By shifting your focus from how good you are to how fast you are learning, you can increase your performance levels and overall development, which is why continual learning is important. Now that we know what a growth mindset and continual learning are and why they are important, how does professional development and training fit in? Professional development focuses on the organization's future needs and an employee's long-term professional career. It's the umbrella that covers all types of skills and knowledge enhancement. A training program is one part of professional development, designed to train employees in the specific technical and non-technical skills they need to grow professionally. Training programs are usually held over a period of time and based on organizational competencies assessed through an Employee Competency Assessment, or ECA. Since there are different skills needed throughout a career per employee, the employee development programs will vary to match the specific skill sets. When it comes to training, many people ask if they should focus on technical or non-technical skills. The answer is both, because both are connected to building a culture of continual learning and NAVFAC's ability to meet its mission and 2021 ConOps objectives. NAVFAC is an engineering command that specializes in rebar and concrete, wires and plumbing. NAVFAC's employees and their technical and non-technical abilities are what make NAVFAC so successful. Like concrete, technical competencies are easy to see and measure, such as the ability to write contracts and design, build, and maintain infrastructure. Non-technical competencies are more like rebar. They are deeply embedded within daily moments and interactions. They are more difficult to see and harder to measure. Non-technical competencies include how we solve problems, communicate, or make decisions. No engineer would consider building a structure or runway without both concrete and rebar. NAVFAC cannot experience sustained success without a workforce skilled in both technical and non-technical competencies. That's why NAVFAC developed the Career Compass program to provide tools, resources, and guidance for employees to grow both their technical and non-technical skills. Now that we understand the difference between training and professional development, how do we learn the needed skills for professional development? There is a tool to develop your skills and competencies called the 70-20-10 Adult Learning Model. Before we explain how the 70-20-10 model can help you develop career goals, let's look at 3 types of learning strategies: pedagogy, andragogy, and hudagogy. Pedagogy, known as teaching-centered learning, is typically used where the student learns from one direction, teacher to student. Andragogy, known as student-centered learning, is when the student learns from 2 directions, teacher to student and student to student. Finally, hudagogy, known as self-directed learning, is how students learn from multi-directional perspectives, teacher to student to teacher, student to student, inside and outside of the learning environment. With hudagogy, the student sets goals and expectations based on their experiences. The 70-20-10 model includes all three types of learning strategies. Let's make sure you understand the three learning strategies. Raj is learning from a teacher. What type of learning strategy is being used? Is it pedagogy, andragogy, or hudagogy? I will give you a few seconds to think about that. The right answer is pedagogy. Pedagogy, known as teaching-centered learning, is typically used where the student learns from one direction, teacher to student. The 70-20-10 model says that the best learning uses pedagogy, andragogy, and hudagogy, where you spend 10% of your time learning from a teacher, 20% of your time learning through others, and 70% of your time learning experientially. I want to be very clear here, though. 70-20-10 is not an exact formula that you need to abide by. It can shift depending on where you are in your career. For example, if you are a brand new NAVFAC employee, you may need to take a higher percentage of formal training courses versus if you have been in your position for several years. Let's talk about them one by one, starting with the 70%. So how do you get experiential learning? Again, please note that 70% is not a fixed number and can shift depending on where you are in your career. The easiest way to learn experientially is to ask for new projects or tasks at your current job so that you can broaden your understanding and experience. You can also ask for a rotational assignment. These assignments can expand your thought processes about other departments and help you see the connections between the various departments. In addition, rotations may also lead to a better understanding of the strategic alignment of the organization and the responsibilities of the different divisions. In your workbook on page 7, please list your response to the following. Juanita is working on her IDP. One of her goals is to improve her writing skills. What's one way she can improve her writing skills via experiential learning? I will give you a few seconds to get your thoughts down and we will discuss your answers. Some ideas of examples you could give Juanita include: ask for a special assignment that involves writing, ask to work on writing an SOP, or ask for a rotation with a PAO. Next, let's move on to the social learning, or 20%. This area is about who you know. When you think about your colleagues, what can you learn from them? From whom can you pick up tricks and tips to improve your skill sets? Once you identify the who, the next step is to apply the social learning at work. Again, I want to stress that 20% is not a fixed number and can shift depending on where you are in your career. Brown bag lunches are one example. You can learn new theories, research, or processes during a work meal. Social learning can also be joining a group like Toastmasters International to learn how to build new skills, improve current skills, and develop competencies for effective communication. You may only spend 1 or 2 hours with these groups, yet you'll learn new ways, techniques, and tips to improve your focus areas. In your workbook on page 8, please list your response to the following. Juanita is working on her IDP. One of her goals is to improve her writing skills. What's one way she can improve her writing skills via social learning? I will give you a few seconds to get your thoughts down and we will discuss your answers. Some examples of ideas you could give Juanita include: share a sample of your writing with a more experienced writer and ask for feedback, or ask for a mentoring session from a peer. Finally, let's move to the 10% or the formal learning. Most people think about taking official classes or courses to learn something new. While formal courses are important, you should only use this 10% of the time to learn something new. Again, note that 10% is not a fixed number and can shift depending on where you are in your career. You may wonder, does that mean I can only take classes 10% of the time? No, it simply means that you have 90% more options than you might know about today. So the bottom line is, don't spend all your resources on formal classes. In your workbook on page 8, please list your response to the following. Juanita is working on her IDP. One of her goals is to improve her writing skills. What's one way she can improve her writing skills via formal learning? I will give you a few seconds to get your thoughts down, and we will discuss your answers. Some examples of ideas you could give Juanita include: take a writing class with Khan Academy, or take a technical writing class. Now that you understand 70-20-10, what resources do you have to develop your career? The Career Compass Resource Center, or CCRC, is an online tool hosted on the NAVFAC public site to provide employees with readily available content related to professional growth and development opportunities. The CCRC also acts as a central repository for a growing library of on-demand learning and development content, such as webinars, videos, how-to guides, and other training materials. It also provides content in direct support of Career Compass, a career development program for NAVFAC civilian employees, including the Employee Competency Assessment, or ECA, Individual Development Plan, or IDP, and Career Compass Catalog, or CCC. The Career Compass Catalog is an online search engine and dashboard within the CCRC that enables employees and supervisors to identify professional development opportunities. Users can search the catalog to identify a wide variety of 70-20-10 learning content, including courses and competency development activities. These activities and courses may be further sorted by applicable non-technical competencies, proficiency levels, communities, and business lines. Using the CCC to identify development opportunities for inclusion in an employee's IDP is an integral part of the learning and development cycle. The CCC website is CAC-enabled. However, you can still access its contents even if you don't have a CAC card by going to the website above and then clicking on the offline version of the CCC. There are many ways to promote and foster continual learning. For example, using the technology on the CCRC will help you learn more about NAVFAC's professional development program, as well as access the videos, podcasts, and other tools. Other ideas to pursue continual learning include stretch assignments, projects, lunch and learns, mentoring, and coaching. Another way to promote continual learning is to give people permission to make mistakes and even fail. I know this sounds counterintuitive, yet people won't succeed at new things right away. They'll fail and try again, building resistance. If they're not allowed to try again, they won't build the persistence they need to learn new skills. We've covered a lot today, including talking about a growth mindset and the 70-20-10 learning model. As we wrap up, in your workbook on page 9, please write down your thoughts on this reflection. How can you apply the 70-20-10 model to your learning? And what is the most important tip you will share with a coworker that wasn't able to participate today? Pause the video and resume when you are ready. Thank you for completing this course today. Please email the Total Force Development account listed on your screen and in the workbook with any questions or comments, or contact your local civilian training advocate or BD17. You will receive credit for participating in this course. To receive credit, email the address here with the listed subject line, course name, and completion code. Please check the CCRC often for updates and new content to support your learning. Again, thank you for your participation.